Afternoon, VC Harris here with the Record Store Day Spectacular. Dead as a doornail this year. Wandered in, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. No queues, no nothing. Piece of piss. Bit of a cheat here. If you watched my last video where I found an old turntable at my mum's, also I found this, which was Record Store Day 2015. Still in the sleeve, never opened. I've got a vague memory of going to Brighton. I didn't really know what Record Store Day was then. Well, I did, but I wasn't really up for it. And I was in Brighton on a sort of an all-day bender. And I remember it just happened to be Record Store Day. And I popped in and bought this, which is the Sex Pistols Spunk, which is the demos of the first album. And obviously, I think I got absolutely battered. Ended up getting a taxi back to Southampton with about 6 of us. Couldn't afford the taxi fare all the way home. Stopped off at my mum's house, because my mum doesn't live at her house now. She lives in Cornwall. And must have left it there. And it's ended up in the loft where the turntable was. You can see it's got a little bit damaged, I think. My mum must have put it up in the loft. And yeah, so Record Store Day 2015. This is still got the tagger on. You've seen too much. These amps go up to 11. Yeah, fantastic. Looking forward to playing this. But yeah, I have no idea what it sounds like. But it's the early demos. I can't remember what producer did this. But yeah, Sex Pistols Spunk, the demo of the first album. So yeah, 7 years old. Looking forward to getting this on. Next up, okay, this is one of those. I kind of got suckered into this a little bit. Essentially, it's a Smiths record with Sandy Shaw. It's the Sandy Shaw Hand in Glove. The Smiths were about 2 singles into their career, and then Morrissey adored Sandy Shaw, who was by then in the 80s pretty clapped out. Everyone had forgotten about her. Obviously, Eurovision Song Contest winner, I think, with Puppet on a String. Did she win or did she come second? I can't remember. And Sandy Shaw basically did 3 Smith songs, Hand in Glove, I Don't Owe You Anything, and Gene. I've got to say, I always loved this. I bought it on 7-inch at the time, and so I've always wanted it on 12. They kind of retool the songs, and I actually think they improve all of them, actually. Well, maybe not Gene, but I Don't Owe You Anything, which is kind of a little bit of a plodder on the first Smiths album, it's absolutely fantastic on this. Johnny Marr absolutely rolls out sort of Tom Verlaine, echoey, jangly guitar lines. It just it's fantastic. It's an absolute 60s pop beaut. I Don't Owe You Anything. Hand in Glove, which was never my favourite Smith song. He kind of, yeah, that's great as well. He sort of popifies that, and then you've got an acoustic version of Gene, which I think is one of Morrissey's greatest ever lyrical moments. I've got to say the original of Smith's Gene is one of my favourite Smith songs. It's a real sort of Motown-y, sort of upbeat banger. But if you're playing Record Store Day twat bingo, then your ship truly has come in on this one. Get your bingo cards out. Totally unnecessary Obi strip, check. Completely unnecessary Japanese nonsense on this, check. Poster you're never going to need, check. And it will round off by a completely useless red vinyl, check. There you go, full house. Fully designed to bring in the naive, gullible punter. Anyway, moments after I bought it, but there you go. Yeah, so that's Sandy Shaw, Hand in Glove, doing the 3 Smith songs. Really chuffed to get this, and I've got to say, I Don't Owe You Anything. This version is so good. Johnny Marr masterclass. Johnny Marr masterclass. Next up, and I was chuffed this came out. Bought this on CD back in '98, and it's Soul Jazz, the kings of the comp since about '96. Soul Jazz, 100% Dynamite. For me, this set a new standard as sort of reggae compilations. There's 6 compilations, 100%, 200%, up to 600%, which came out between about 98 and 2005. They're all absolute, excuse the pun, dynamite. This is kind of like, there's a lot of instrumentals on there, some great stuff, vocals. I mean, it's brilliant. Johnny Osborne's We Need Love, Horace Andy's My Soul, the amazing Lloyd Robinson Cuss Cuss, which came out in '68 and sounds about 30 years ahead of its time. Phyllis Dillon's Woman of the Ghetto. It comes in a nice gatefold. Sadly, it comes on bloody awful yellow vinyl. Soul Jazz have got a shop in London, off just before Buick Street. I'm not sure what the street's called. It's just off Waldorf Street, and it's a great shop. It's called Sounds of the Universe. And before COVID, I used to pop up there 2 or 3 times a year. Upstairs is all sort of, obviously they sell a lot of soul jazz releases, as you can imagine, but upstairs is all new releases, dance, electronic, hip hop, jazz, la. Downstairs it's all secondhand sort of jazz, soul. Brilliant. Down in the basement, it's a great, lovely building as well. I think it was in the 60s, it was in the 70s, it was the Bricklayers Arms, which is where the Rolling Stones did their first auditions upstairs. I think Brian Jones put an advert in the NME or something, and all the Keith Richards and all that all turned up to the Bricklayers Arms. Certainly, I think Keith Richards did, and he auditioned upstairs. So there's a nice bit of history there. The downstairs with the second hand, it's got such a lovely guy who works there. Before COVID, one of the last records I bought there was Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah Band, which is a fantastic sort of big band disco album. Maybe one of the great disco albums, if not the best disco album ever. It's kind of, I think Kid Creole was in this before he formed Kid Creole and the Coconuts, and I'll play the Fool, La Femme Fatale, Cherchez la Femme, Sun Shower is fantastic. I remember buying this, and this bloke who works behind the counter downstairs, he's absolutely fantastic. Whenever I buy a record, he like looks at me and he's like, "Oh, we've got to put this on." He always then puts the record, but certainly when I bought this, he put the record on the Technics, which is sitting there, and he lets it play, and he starts dancing. So then I'm kind of looking at him, and I have to start dancing. And it's like, so we're both dancing, and then track 2 kicks in, and he's still dancing, and I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna ride this out to the end. Eventually, I always have to sort of go, mate, this is lovely, but I need to get off. And he's an absolute diamond bloke, and I've actually had occasions, I mean, I don't even know the bloke, but I've bought records, he's looked at the condition and go, oh, you can have that, and he's given me records for free, and it's not like I spend a lot in there, but yeah, lovely bloke. Don't buy a box set in there, for Christ's sake, you'll be dancing for about 8 hours, but yeah, 100% dynamite. If you're dipping your toe in reggae, any of these, this is kind of like, for me, the nuggets of reggae. You know, if you're getting into garage rock, you're going to buy nuggets. If I was getting into reggae, I'd buy any of these, but 100% dynamite is absolute fucking killer. Also, when I was in soul jazz, I bought the incredible Osmonds I. Sounds of the Universe. This is really hard to find. The Osmonds did an absolute disco banger of all time called I. I don't think it's on any album. It's kind of hard to get. It's one of these tracks that suddenly got very trendy in London around the millennium, when it was all sort of Balearic tunes galore, and it's up there with Crazy Horses by the Osmonds. But I by the Osmonds. Whack that on YouTube. It's an absolute dance floor destroyer, and I was really chuffed to get this. I bought this before COVID, and bloody hard to find as well. This was from the last record store day. I kind of briefly touched on it on my last video, but yeah, it's worth mentioning. Lou Reed, I'm So Free, the RCA demos. I really recommend this. It's kind of songs he did, I think in 1 or 2 days for RCA. The sound quality on this is phenomenal. This is not like the bootleg sessions or anything. This sounds like Lou Reed is in your living room with you, which may not be the nicest thought in the world, but it's brilliant. Perfect Day, I'm So Free, I'm Sticking With You, Lisa Says. It's him on it. It's essentially Lou Reed unplugged. It is great. It really works. I'm really dubious of these sort of record store day what I call record store day stunt releases, where suddenly they've magicked up some lost track. But this works like an album, and it's really good. This is probably one of my favourite Lou Reed solo albums. I put it, just below Transformer, Berlin and New York, but yeah, I'll have this, and possibly above Coney Island Baby, which I love as well. But yeah, Lou Reed, the RCA demos, came out on the last record store day. If you see it floating about and you're into Lou Reed, it's just brilliant. It really is great. I've been listening to it loads. And last up, this is not record store day, The Residents, Intermission, Ernst David, Lars Freeman. He mentioned The Residents to me. Really hard to find any Residents records. This is like a 12-inch single. Apparently they did this sort of theatre show called the Mole Trilogy, and this is the intermission music, apparently. This kind of sounds like the second side of David Bowie's Low, as if it was produced by a manic clown posse or something. It's very haunting, sort of oozing synths, quite disturbing but brilliant. I just don't ever see any Residents about it. It's quite cheap as well. It's only like £7. And yeah, the Residents intermission, well worth 1 for 2 in the morning after maybe you've smoked a bit of the pigeon dust or something. But yeah, it's a good one. So there's my random record store day releases ranging from 2015 to 2022. Hope everyone has a good day. Take care, and I'll see you soon.